beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife. Who more than self, country love, and mercy more than life.
Sing the song, boy.
America, America.
Welcome back to the Sports Shop.
Make God thy gold refine.
Sports Shop, Reese K-Mac. There's no day other than Veterans Day. Whenever you hear this fine song on this day, must be Veterans Day.
Absolutely. Come on, Ray.
What?
Nice.
That's a talented young man.
For amber waves of grain. For purple
Today we get an opportunity to pay tribute to veterans far and near. We all have a veteran in our family.
Yes.
Which is something a lot of people probably didn't realize. But you could say we all have a veteran close to us, near us, in our family, in our midst. And today is a great day to say thank you. I'm going to ask each and every one of you guys to give me a quick reflection on Veterans Day and what it was to you in the past and what it means to you now.
That's interesting. That's it. Okay.
Want to go first?
Okay, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I can go first.
Yeah.
So it's always meant a lot to me because of my dad being a veteran and by him being in the war. He was in Vietnam War, and he had a very, very touchy situation with his best friend, and as they moved, one moved a little bit ahead, and his best friend died, walked right into and so that's something that he lives with.
So they served together. They were actually in Vietnam together.
In the Vietnam together.
Wow.
On the battle line, one walked forward this way, and he's no longer here, and my dad was walked this way. So that's something he lives with daily that, we have to live with, So it's always meant a lot, you know, that sacrifice. That's real close to home.
Right.
Real close to home. So it's always meant a lot that I look at him daily and glad that he's still here, but just realizing that sacrifice that he made. Yeah. And that all of our veterans made. And my grandfather was in World War II, I think. So he constantly talked about it.
It's amazing how you look at, and I'm going to ask you this because we have a veterans group we meet every Tuesday, and from all eras or what have you. When you think about that and you look at your father now, you just think about just the term, just what he was going through at that young age. Does it give you a different perspective on how what type of man he is, or what type of
I think it changed him. He was, I can't remember how, probably 18, 19, but I think it's changed him a lot in just how he moves and navigates. Whereas even in watching news, depending on how you went through that and what your triggers are, and the times that we've been in war and things like that, that was not on in our house. He doesn't watch those kinds of things. He doesn't talk about it. Whereas my grandfather, that's all he talked about. Right. So you see that dynamic. Whereas my dad, this is the most he gonna talk about is me talking about it.
Wow.
And he probably gonna walk out of the room.
Wow.
So it's just very different. So I think I'm sure in so many ways it's changed him to go through something like that.
Okay.
Oh man, it's interesting. I was trying. I got a gazillion thoughts running through my mind, but one in particular, you said where I think about. I just remember growing up and having the Veterans Day parade and just going to that and just seeing what that was all about. I was in school. You get a day off or whatever, right? But as you get older, you understand. My father was in the Korean War, and does obviously, later on when I was real young, he used to talk about it, what they did over there, and that was interesting. But my family in general, like my cousins, I have a plethora amount of cousins that serve. But one particular set of family, my cousins, Timothy Payne, his siblings. One was in the Navy. Landris was in the Marines, and he was in the Army. Now, Timothy Payne is my go-to. He's my cousin. I love him. I was just with him a couple weeks ago. To your point, he doesn't even talk about stuff he's done. No, he was a colonel, Special Forces, U.S. Army.
Okay.
Desert Storm. I mean, he did these special missions. And you go to this house, this whole wall is painted with stuff. I mean, this guy is my hero, and I always lean into him when we talk about this because he actually he did it.
Yeah,
he did it. So I thank him for his service.
As I say, he was touching people.
Yeah, he was.
Right.
Yeah, and David, we talked about one time these special missions he had, and it was just a whole lot of stuff that sometimes he'll talk about, sometimes he don't want to talk about.
They don't want to.
But I thank him for his service. All my other relatives who served this country. And continue service because a lot of them still there. I really appreciate them. But those are my, images and recollections of this particular day.
Okay. A-Town, any thoughts on Veterans Day?
I just appreciate the people who make that sacrifice, because obviously it's not easy to do to step away from your family and protect the country that you live in and that you love. So I just appreciate those people who make that sacrifice because not a lot of people can or would want to.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's pretty immense.
Quickly, real quick facts. 17 million veterans at last count, last census, I believe, in this country. 17 million.
Wow.
So here's a stat that you probably don't like. Of those 17 million veterans, how many do you think are homeless?
62%.
Too many. Yeah. Yes.
60. Last count, 2023, 67,000 homeless veterans.
Wow.
67,000 homeless veterans, and there's 15,000 they consider to be completely unsheltered, which means they are like no address, no nothing.
You say 15,000, 15%.
15,000.
Okay.
15,000.
Okay.
And that was from the census in 2020. That was last done. I'm sure that number's changed quite a bit. But the reason I bring that up is two things I want to talk about before we move. Is the homeless population in the veteran community and the suicide crisis in the veteran community.
Sure.
Talk about those two things. So when you think about it, just hearing the stories you guys just mentioned, right, that we just talked about, and I'll talk about some other stuff later, but there's no reason collectively, if we all feel like we just talked about, that we should even have to entertain the conversation of a homeless veteran.
That's right.
In these numbers.
I agree. Yeah.
The size of this country and the resources that we have in this country, that's not even a point. We shouldn't even have to just have a conversation about that. Right? Because when I see other countries like Ukraine and this recent conflict in Israel and other places, and you cannot tell me we are going to hand someone or something or some country billions of dollars, and we have a number as small as 15 to 25,000 veterans in this country without a place to stay or a home to live in, we can't fix that.
That's right.
See, Mac, a couple of things. I agree with you 1,000%. That's what I was thinking. But I know this is going to sound crazy. I thought 15,000, that number to me is kind of low, though. And you may be alarmed about it. But
that's completely unsheltered.
Because
there's 67,000 that is completely
okay.
Like,
But
homeless.
you said the population was 17. How many? Million?
17 million.
But okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. Where there's one, it doesn't matter how many.
Right.
We need
One
support,
too many, but
when you say, like, you would think if you're talking about this, you should say we must be talking about it in the millions.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
millions
That's why I said that.
That is difficult to
Right.
maintain. No, it's not.
Well, that's a damn shame.
It's unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate. That's another way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in a lot of areas, not just with housing, but in a lot of areas, veterans people they don't treat them the way they should for their service. From the services that they have to get from the VA to so many different things.
Tomorrow all the things were gone. I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here
Greenwood
today,
Resort.
'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Come on with it. And I'm proud to be an American, where at
Yes.
least I know I'm free.
Outstanding.
And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Man.
That's tough.
There's no way
Yeah.
you can hear that and not recognize that you are by far
From the lakes of
living in one of the greatest places you can live on this earth.
hills of Tennessee.
For all the flaws, for all the shortcomings, for all our differences, for all of our disagreements,
Very nice.
there's one thing that you can always depend on is the fact that at some point we should come together. And we can't come together on anything. We should come together on this one thing. We should support veterans. We should remember veterans.
Yes.
And we should honor those that give us the right to be able to say we are American. We should support those that give us the right to sleep at night. We should support those that give us the honor and the pride and the privilege to say we live in one of the greatest places on this land. I will say this. As a U.S. Army veteran, veterans in my family, and many veteran friends and veterans that I deal with, I talk to every day, veterans are special. Veterans are special people because they decided to do something that many of us didn't do, didn't have an opportunity to do, but they did it for us. It takes a very special person to say to themselves that in the event I'm asked to do so, I will give my life in defense of what we all stand for. It takes a very special person to do that, and the day is the day that we say thank you.
Yes.
And I want to say
Thank
thank you to all you veterans.
Thank you. Very nice.
You know, if you know a veteran, say thank you. If you know a veteran, have a conversation. It's not about, although it is, because I like my free food too. It's not about getting stuff for free,
Right.
right? It's about having an opportunity to have a conversation with a person that they did something on their own. They did something for us that they really didn't have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of the matter is that we need veterans to do what they do.
That's right.
So it doesn't cost a lot to have a conversation. It doesn't cost anything, actually, but your time. And you spend time on social media, you spend time on your phone, you spend time doing a lot of things. But spend time talking to a veteran when you can. You all work with one. You all know one. You all have one in your family,
Yes.
right? And sometimes it's good to just let that veteran tell you that story.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Tell you that story. Sharing their story may be the one thing that they need to keep them from being a part of this number.
Right. And if they're not willing to share their story, then you share as
Yeah.
much as you can of their story so that they, can get comfortable, or at least hear the
Right.
thank you.
So that's it. So real quickly, I want to ask you guys once again. I know I asked you the question last time when we came back and asked you about your thoughts on what Veterans Day means and all these other things. what's probably been the most surprising thing that you've learned over the last few years about veterans on Veterans Day, or just in general about veterans, about military service? Because every year something surprises me too.
Well, I don't know. I should say this, but I think for me the most surprising thing is that if you go to, and not everyone, but if you go to some VA hospitals, how the staff, how they're treated. They're not always treated like,
nice. Okay.
you know, the sacrifice that they've made.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're treated like, well, you're here, you're not paying for it.
Right.
And they already paid for it. Let me tell you that.
Okay.
So it gets real personal with me because it's close at heart. And I remember when my grandfather got really, really sick and he was at a VA hospital, and how they treated him, how they treated the family when it was, you know, really touch and go, and just different things. And it's not everybody. It happens in all hospitals. You get bad nurses, you get bad things.
Yeah.
But you would expect that when the red carpet should be laid out in whatever services is needed from the veterans aspect, and that's not always the case. That's why you have homelessness and different things like that. We talked about,
Because they don't feel welcome there.
right, we're not putting the resources, all the resources together in some instances. So that surprises me because of the ultimate sacrifices that have been made.
I appreciate you saying that, because a lot of people that don't go to veterans hospitals, VA hospitals, you don't really know, right?
You don't know.
You don't know. But it's good for people to hear you say that, so that people that may have influence, maybe they say, you know what, you know, you guys need to make sure now that, you know, because we all have influence somewhere. Someone has influence, right? So, anyway, what about you, Rick?
Interesting. That was definitely one of them right there. I mean, talking to our friend Orlando Brown, who's a veteran, and thank you for your service, Orlando. He talks about a lot about that too as well. But I'm gonna put a little different twist on it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Alabama A&M, and we had to be in ROTC, and I hated to put those boots on and those fatigues on.
Well,
But those guys that
Disney
stayed
boots.
doing that, though, they end up going to the next level. They retired now and got another job, and the military has treated them well, and thank you for their service. But one thing that surprised me is, that's the question you asked me, and this is going to sound really weird. I didn't realize the rivalry that exists between the branches.
Oh yes.
I mean, I'm talking about.
true.
I hear K-Back.
If you say the wrong
branch, simplify or something. People, they lose their damn mind. I mean, and Navy, Army,
Yeah.
Marines, Air Force. It's like Alabama Auburn. I'm telling you, it's like Central NT. I mean, that's what I never until I got older and moved. No, became an adult. And sitting around the guys that were veterans, they be going at each other like that.
So
for real.
what's the proper way?
It's a real thing. They be throwing shade at each other big time.
What's the proper way to ask you?
First time we say, oh, but that's a Navy guy.
Right.
You go, what does that mean?
Is that good or bad? Or
I mean,
shade?
but see, that's what I'm saying.
I mean-
that's my point. So they be going at it, man. So I had no idea. So that's what really surprised me as I got older.
What's the proper way to ask you which branch or what?
That's it.
That's the
What's
way.
branch?
It's okay.
Yeah.
You can ask.
But
You say
Pam,
what
they
branch?
be throwing shade. I mean,
Say what branch?
Navy thinks they better than the Army think they better than the Marine,
Right.
Marine think they better than Alpha.
Yeah, always.
Coast Guard. I mean, all of them.
Yeah. I mean, I won't do it today. But
He don't tell
Go
the
ahead.
truth.
Who's the best?
That's what.
Who's the best?
That's
well,
what.
the Army's the best because they're the first. So that's no need. That's no need. I'm a first kind of guy. You know what I mean? So if you gonna go something, you gonna do something, you gotta go with the first.
You gotta go with the first.
You know what I mean? That's the way it works. Some people, you know, everybody, we all have jokes, and you know, we all give each other a hard time. You know, everybody has their own special place.
That's a real thing, though.
You know what I mean? The Air Force, but you know, Air Force people don't get in the middle of that. They don't get in the middle.
they don't-
Any particular reason why?
The Air Force.
See,
Watch the phone. Look at those lights. Oh, my God.
But see, that's my point. People, this is a real thing. I had no idea.
They don't get in the middle of that.
The people, they take that stuff serious. I'm gonna give them that stuff.
I mean, yeah, you know, Ian was Air Force. So what did that tell you?
Oh God, Ian.
Well, that is right there. You sure
I like
saying,
it.
Pam?
See,
I
we just
do.
started this.
I do.
I just
See,
started
I
that.
wasn't gonna do this, but you
But no,
started this.
you asked me what surprise. I gave you my surprise.
Oh boy, shame on you, Reese.
As a veteran, what surprises you?
Good question.
As a veteran, you know what surprises me the most is how stupidly stubborn we are.
Mm.
You know that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the most frustrating things for me, because, you know, starting a nonprofit and helping veterans and doing all this, is just how difficult it is to get us to take advantage of the small things that are already there, right? And to stand up for ourselves. It's like we are conditioned not to say, we're conditioned not to think of it as a handout
Yeah.
versus an honor and a right that we've earned, and we don't take advantage of it. And it's frustrating.
Yeah.
It is irritating, and I am embarrassed to say I was one of those. I was one of those same individuals, which is sad. But you try to figure out how did you end up thinking that way? Because that's one of the things that you talk about when you first join the armed forces is all these great benefits and all these things. But by the time you finish, you don't take advantage of all of those great things.
That's the battlefield of the mind, what you went through, and you trying to distance yourself from everything.
Right.
And if I take advantage of this, then I got to relive the
Maybe.
things that I went through and things that happened, possibly.
Maybe and because you want to be a part of quote unquote mainstream society so badly that you kind of distance yourself from that. Well, we've done a lot to change those things. We've done a lot to educate people. We've done a lot to just basically say, look, this you must do this because you have to do this. You have to do this. You have to do this for your family. You have to do this for your friends. So do all of these things. But that's probably been the most surprising thing for me. The most surprising thing for me in general. And having so many friends and family that are veterans, and now as being a part of this aging population, think I can say that, but it's exactly. And it's just one of those things where people taking care of themselves and not wanting to go to the VA hospital.
Interesting.
Like tons of them don't want to go.
Oh yeah.
And it's free.
Yeah.
And it's free. They just don't want to go. And they should. And they need to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the more of us that are there, right? Because the more of us that are there can help speak up for people and help create and create the environment that we want.
Right.
That
The
we
more
deserve.
that you're there, the more the service will get better and better as well.
Right. So that's how I think. And but lastly, on this Veterans Day, if you know a veteran, thank a veteran, but more importantly, talk to a veteran.
That's right. And I have a thank you form that I'd like to read.
Okay, before you read,
something?
who is in the professional ranks? Who jumps out as the most decorated veteran to play pro sports?
Decorated veteran to play pro.
Ooh, you went there too, and I forgot about him.
Yeah. Oh man.
Is it Jackie Robinson?
Yeah.
David Robinson? Jackie Robinson? Who else?
Ooh, I gotta think about that for real though.
Of course, the
most notable, of course, is Jackie Robinson, who, as you know.
Yeah.
But
I was just curious. This sports show, I was just trying to look.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Pam. Go ahead.
Okay. To all of our veterans, far and near, we thank you for your service for all those years. You sacrificed your time, and some gave your life. You preserved our freedom by willingly paying the price. Many of you were sent overseas. You were wounded in battle with scars and disease, but courageous and brave. You weathered the storm. You faced every battle with faith and beyond. We honor you with joy for all that you've done. You stood strong for our country, for our daughters and our sons. So no one stands alone. We walk hand in hand. Remember, we are with you. Together we shall stand. We salute you today. Hear what we say. Let our words speak eloquently in this special way. On this day, let us express our love and thanks for the sacrifice you paid. You served in honor for many, many years and many, many days, and we will never forget how you were strong and brave. Happy Veterans Day, and thank you.